We live out our short lives on a rocky spheroid with an iron core orbiting a star which orbits a black hole in a three-dimensional universe expanding in all directions equally. We are pulled down towards the core of this spheroid by its gravitational force according to its mass. We experience the world in 4 dimensions, X, Y, Z, and linear time. If a lion is chasing us, for instance, we need to know where the nearest tree is in relation to us and the lion, and if we can climb it before we are mauled and eaten. We are a bipedal humanoid that walks upright, has sex for pleasure, uses an opposable thumb to grasp objects, and has the largest brain and cerebral cortex relative to body weight. We evolved over millions of years from very simple life forms not visible to us. The vast majority of life, including other species of humans, are all dead. After nearly becoming extinct ourselves, we became an evolutionary success, and some animals were in direct competition with us for food and territory, or they were food in our territory. Some suffered for it. Some were domesticated, some continued to plague our existence, and some were worshipped. We also remain at the mercy of natural phenomena, violent storms, flooding, drought, and earthquakes, usually attributed to an angry god's power that nobody can prove exists. We developed language and writing, agriculture, architecture, religion, culture, math, and science, and all the while, no one knew why. No one knows why. But that's not the full story. You, what you think of as you, exists in total darkness inside your head. Your mind inside your skull is a squishy, fatty, wet neuron bubble called your brain, and your brain has to interpret what the real world actually is based on your senses. What you see, feel, hear, taste, and smell. You're also subjected to imagination, hallucination, and dreams. A third of your life is spent in an altered state of consciousness called sleep. Your body relaxes, your eyes close, and your nervous system becomes relatively inactive. While dreaming, you might see people from your past, or the dead, or people you've never met. You may experience paralyzing fear, flight, alternate realities, or sexual pleasure so intense you have an orgasm. So instead of nothingness, you get life and the world. And the longer you're at it, the more memories you have, and those memories help your mind interpret the world. Your mind has to put all these things together in real time, and it's not always able to do this. Sometimes it gets lazy, and sometimes it fails miserably. Just try the alien faces illusion. Things happen faster than you can perceive them, or in a different way that memory can't help interpret. This is where the idea of magic comes from, and why we say the hand is quicker than the eye, mind over body, 2 heads are better than one, and so on. This is our reality. This is some of what I understand of our reality. Some of us don't even get this far and never will. Education isn't universally available or equal, and if it was, there's no guarantee that every student would learn the information or use it to further their own understanding and promote the well-being of others. The point is, life is crazy and weird and scary and subjective according to our own experiences. Where we're born, when we're born, who our parents are, what our community and society is about. We don't choose these things. Our place in the world and the meaning of everything isn't straightforward. It might not have a purpose, except for the meaning we give it. We don't have to be here and ultimately don't amount to much. But we are here, and that matters to us. So I understand how cults happen. I understand why some people start them and others join, but at the same time, I don't. I don't get it. Research on the number of cults and their members isn't definitive and is mostly outdated. Many of the groups who provide information are religious themselves. In my view, simply put, if 76% of Americans identify as religious, then 76% of Americans are in a cult, or at the very least are perpetuating a worldview that is conducive to cult-like behavior. It is one of humanity's oldest traditions. Synonymous with cult behavior is the claims of a prophet, messiah, or similar revelation, belief in the supernatural, and often includes an end times prophecy. End times prophecies are common throughout history, but really got going in the 16th century, or maybe it's just that more of them are documented. In the 400 years from 1501 to 1900, there were 61 prophecies. But the 20th century really stands out with 80 end-of-the-world predictions. Maybe it was the growing human population, advances in technology, 2 world wars, a rise in totalitarianism, weapons of mass destruction, the nuclear age, or the establishment of Israel in 1948 and Zionist beliefs that led up to it and continue. And of course, the millennium happened. There were at least 19 different predictions from 99 to 2000, making this period number 1 for failed prophecies of all time. So far in the 21st century, there are at least 20 predictions, a record-setting pace. The top 5 biggest losers for most number of failed end-of-the-world prophecies are at number 5, a 3-way tie. We have Sabbatai Zevi, who famously claimed and then decided he was not the Jewish Messiah when threatened with execution. He even converted to Islam. And his 17th century contemporary John Napier, as well as David Meade, who is still with us and has a chance to move up in the standings. Each has 2 failed predictions. Next is Edgar Whisenant with 3. Herbert Armstrong falsely predicted 4 end of days and comes in at number 3. Our runner-up is Ronald Wineland, who is Herbert's successor. He also has 4 predictions, but is still active and gets the number 2 spot for being the last apostle and going to prison for tax evasion. Before naming the number 1 spot, an honorable mention, the combined 6 failed predictions from Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower Society, but the number 1 false prophet in the end times category who died in 2013 and will not have a chance to improve his standings is Harold Camping, who personally had 6 failed predictions. Throughout history and to the present day, we've had at least 11 reincarnations of the Buddha, 15 Jewish messiahs, and 17 Islamic prophets, but the undisputed winner in this category is Jesus, with at least 64 Jesuses to date. Many had followers who ended up dead. 6 Jesuses have died in the last 10 years alone, and a whopping 21 are still alive today, including one who is dating Mary Magdalene. We have got to get these people together.